She called the cops on him, lied, smirked. But when his mother pulled up, her hands started shaking. Because the woman she tried to frame was the FBI chief. The sun begins its descent, casting a golden hue over the quiet suburban neighborhood of Willow Creek. It's early evening, and the streets are bathed in the warm, comforting glow of sunset. Here, well-manicured lawns and modern homes line the peaceful streets, creating an idyllic setting that speaks of community and tranquility. In this serene backdrop, Jaden Williams, a 16-year-old black teenager, makes his way home. He's a familiar face to those who know him, always with a friendly nod or a bright smile for neighbors. Today, like most days, he walks with a casual ease, his steps unhurried as he enjoys the calm of the early evening. His school bag swings lightly by his side, headphones draped around his neck, a picture of a young man simply winding down from a day of studies. However, not everyone views Jaden with the same benign acceptance. From her vantage point behind a slightly parted living room curtain, Karen Mitchell, a 45-year-old white woman and a longtime resident, watches Jaden with a marked frown etching deeper into her features. Her gaze is sharp, her suspicion palpable as she observes him pause in front of a nearby house. Jaden, unaware of the scrutiny, stops to check a message on his phone, his expression focused and oblivious to the brewing storm. The sight of the unfamiliar teen lingering on her street ignites a defensive spark in Karen. Her neighborhood, in her view, is a place for residents only, and her instinctive unease compels her to act. With a briskness that belies her agitation, she steps outside, the door closing with a soft thud behind her. Her arms are crossed tightly across her chest as she approaches Jaden, her posture rigid, the embodiment of unwelcoming suspicion. "What are you doing here?" Karen demands, her voice carrying a sharp edge that slices through the quiet of the evening. Her words hang between them, charged and accusatory, a clear challenge to his presence in her perceived domain. Jaden, taken aback by the confrontation, looks up from his phone. His response is measured, his tone even and calm, seasoned by an upbringing that taught him how to navigate these all-too-familiar waters. "I live nearby," he explains simply, hoping to quickly dispel her concerns and diffuse the tension. Karen's eyes narrow, scanning Jaden's face as if searching for any hint of falsehood. Her skepticism remains firmly in place, her mind seemingly made up. "I've never seen you around before," she counters quickly, her voice tinged with disbelief. The implication is clear. She doesn't believe him, her distrust rooted in more than just the unfamiliarity. This early conflict sets the stage for a deeper exploration of themes that resonate far beyond the quiet streets of Willow Creek. As Jaden stands there, confronted by Karen's unfounded suspicions, the stage is set for a story that delves into issues of belonging, identity, and the impact of racial perceptions in the microcosm of a suburban neighborhood. What unfolds is a poignant reflection on the divisions that can exist hidden beneath the surface of a community's peaceful facade. The evening's calm is shattered as Karen Mitchell's hostility escalates rapidly. With each word, her demeanor hardens. She demands to see Jaden's ID as if she has any authority to enforce such a request. "Show me some identification," she insists, her voice sharp and commanding. Jaden, feeling the weight of countless similar encounters, stands his ground firmly. "I do not owe you anything," he replies, his tone steady and devoid of fear. He recognizes this pattern all too well. The unwarranted suspicions, the invasive demands, all because he doesn't fit into someone else's narrow view of who should be in their neighborhood. Undeterred by Jaden's refusal, Karen's frustration boils over. She pulls out her phone with a dramatic flourish. "Fine. I will let the cops handle this," she declares, tapping the screen with exaggerated taps. Her actions are swift. The decision to escalate the situation taken without a second thought about the potential consequences for Jaden. Jaden exhales slowly, a mix of resignation and quiet anger simmering within him. Here we go again, he thinks, bracing himself for what he knows is coming next. Minutes later, the sound of sirens cuts through the suburban stillness, and 2 police officers arrive at the scene. Their steps are measured as they approach, their expressions unreadable. Karen wastes no time, her words tumbling out in a rush. "He was lurking around, acting suspicious," she explains hurriedly, pointing accusingly at Jaden. Jaden meets the officer's gaze calmly, his voice even as he explains his side. I live here. My house is right there, he says, gesturing to a nearby home just down the street. His statement is simple, a clear fact that should easily verify his claims and defuse the situation. However, the officers exchange looks, their skepticism apparent. They do not immediately accept Jaden's explanation, nor do they make any move to verify his statement. Instead, one of them steps forward, his hand reaching out to grasp Jaden's arm. We need to check your story, he says, his grip firm. Jaden's response is instant, his frustration breaking through his calm exterior. Check my story, he repeats, his voice rising slightly. He glares back at the officer, his eyes fierce. Or check your bias. The question hangs in the air, pointed and powerful. The tension among the officers is palpable. They stiffen, taken aback by Jaden's direct challenge. Nearby, Karen watches the exchange with a smug smirk, clearly satisfied with the turn of events. She believes she has won, that her actions have been justified. But Jaden is not nervous, not like they expect him to be. Because he knows something they do not. Just as the officers start to lead him towards their car for further questioning, a car pulls up. Out steps a woman, her stride confident, her expression one of concern and authority. She is Jaden's mother, and she is not alone. Accompanying her is a man Jaden recognizes as their family lawyer, his presence enough to immediately alter the dynamics of the encounter. Officers, I believe there has been a misunderstanding, Jaden's mother begins, her voice calm but firm. She quickly explains Jaden's residency, corroborating his earlier statement with a confidence that brooks no argument. The lawyer steps forward, introducing himself, and firmly requesting the officers release Jaden, citing legal statutes and rights that they are currently infringing upon. His tone is professional, but there's an underlying edge that suggests the potential for serious repercussions should they continue down this path. Faced with the combined assertiveness of Jaden's mother and the lawyer, the officers reluctantly release Jaden, muttering apologies as they reassess the situation. Karen's smirk fades, replaced by a dawning realization of the serious error she has made. As the officers depart, Jaden's mother wraps an arm around him, her relief palpable. Karen is left standing alone, her earlier confidence evaporated, as she watches the Williams family regroup, their unity and resilience clear for all to see. In the aftermath, the neighborhood watches, the incident leaving a ripple of conversations and reflections on bias, justice, and community responsibility. For Jaden, the ordeal is another reminder of the challenges he faces, but also of his family's unyielding support and the strength that comes from standing up against injustice. The false accusation and the police call, intended to intimidate and suppress, instead highlight the importance of understanding, legal knowledge, and community support. Jaden's ordeal is a testament to the power of resilience and the critical need for advocacy in the face of discrimination. The evening calm shatters with the roar of an engine as a black SUV screeches into the suburban scene, its sudden appearance drawing startled looks from onlookers. Dust swirls around the tires as the vehicle comes to an abrupt stop right where Jaden, the officers, and Karen are gathered. The doors swing open with a decisive thud, and out steps a tall black woman dressed in a crisp, authoritative suit. Her presence is commanding, her gaze sharp as it sweeps over the group. Karen's face drains of color as she catches sight of the newcomer. A mixture of fear and confusion flashes across her features as she takes an involuntary step back. Her confident demeanor crumbles, replaced by a growing realization that the situation has escalated far beyond her expectations. Jaden, who has maintained a composed facade until now, allows a small, significant smile to cross his lips. "Hi, Mom," he says, his voice carrying a mix of relief and pride. It is the first time he has shown any warmth this evening, and it marks a turning point in the unfolding drama. The atmosphere tenses further as Jaden's mother approaches. The police officers, who were moments ago firmly in control, now appear uncertain, their confidence faltering under her scrutinizing gaze. As she nears, she reaches inside her jacket and produces something that gleams under the streetlights, a badge that proclaims her identity more loudly than any introduction could. "Chief Williams, FBI," she announces, her voice resonant and steady. The badge in her hand is not just a piece of metal. It is a symbol of authority, of power, and of a profound shift in the dynamics of the evening. Karen takes another shaky step back, her earlier accusatory stance dissolving into one of apprehension. She looks from the badge to Jaden and back again, her mind racing to piece together the implications of this revelation. "Now, officers," Chief Williams continues, her tone calm, but with an underlying edge that commands attention. "Tell me exactly why my son is in handcuffs." The question hangs heavy in the air. The officers exchange a glance, their earlier assertiveness replaced by hesitation. One of them, the one who had grabbed Jaden's arm earlier, starts to speak, his voice less certain than before. "We received a call about a suspicious individual." Chief Williams cuts him off with a raised hand, her expression unyielding. "My son, standing outside his own home, is suspicious?" Her words are pointed, the implication clear and cutting. The officer stumbles over his words, his justification sounding feeble even to his own ears. "We were just following protocol, ma'am." Chief Williams's gaze hardens. "It seems your protocol needs revisiting," she states, her critique sharp and incisive. Her attention then turns to Karen, who has been silently watching the exchange, her initial bravado nowhere to be seen. Karen's voice is barely audible as she tries to explain her actions, her words tumbling out in a nervous rush. "I just thought, I didn't know." "Thinking isn't enough, Ms. Mitchell," Chief Williams interjects sternly. "Actions based on unfounded suspicions can cause real harm. My son should not have to prove his innocence for simply being." As Chief Williams speaks, her words not only address Karen but resonate with the gathered crowd, serving as a stark reminder of the responsibilities everyone shares in fostering a community of trust and respect. The confrontation concludes with Chief Williams instructing the officers to remove the handcuffs from Jaden, her actions both measured and full of unspoken promises of further discussions about community policing and racial profiling. As the handcuffs click open, releasing Jaden, the young man rubs his wrists, his relief palpable. The power shift is complete, with Chief Williams not only securing her son's release, but also setting the stage for necessary conversations and changes within the police force and the community. Karen, once the instigator of the conflict, remains a diminished figure, her assumptions and actions thoroughly challenged and condemned. As the SUV drives away with Jaden and his mother, the neighborhood is left to reflect on the evening's events. The impact of Chief Williams's intervention will echo beyond this night, prompting introspection and, hopefully, change. Jaden's ordeal ends not just with his liberation, but with a powerful demonstration of advocacy and protection that will resonate with all who witnessed it. As the suburban evening descends into a tableau of accountability and revelation, the scene outside Jaden's home grows tense with the palpable shift in power dynamics. Chief Williams stands resolute, her presence a fortress against the flimsy excuses being offered by the flustered police officers. They stumble over their words, trying to piece together a coherent explanation under her piercing gaze. "Did you assume he was a suspect just because of his skin color?" Chief Williams's voice cuts through the murmurs, sharp and clear. Her question hangs in the air, heavy and accusing. The officers exchange uneasy glances, their earlier authority drained away, leaving them exposed and uncertain. No one speaks. The silence is a loud testament to the unspoken truths of their assumptions. Meanwhile, Karen Mitchell, who had initiated this unwarranted ordeal, tries to slip away from the growing scrutiny. Her voice trembles as she mutters, I did not mean any harm." But her attempt to extricate herself from the situation is quickly thwarted by Chief Williams, who turns her formidable focus on Karen. "You wasted police resources. Lied. Harassed my son." Chief Williams enumerates Karen's missteps with a stern tone that brooks no argument. Her words slice through Karen's feeble defenses, stripping away any pretense of innocence. "You think there are no consequences for that?" she adds, her rhetorical question underlining the gravity of Karen's actions. The neighborhood, once a quiet backdrop to everyday suburban life, has become a stage for a profound reckoning. The gathered crowd, including neighbors who had tentatively peered out of their windows or paused in their evening walks to watch the drama unfold, now witnesses a moment of unexpected justice. Chief Williams turns back to the officers, her command unequivocal. Take her statement. File a report. I will be following up. Her instructions are precise, her intent clear. There will be accountability, and Karen will face the consequences of her actions. Karen's eyes go wide with shock. Wait, what? She exclaims, the reality of her situation crashing down around her. For the first time, Karen finds herself on the receiving end of an investigation, her usual position of assumed authority inverted. She is rendered speechless, her earlier confidence shattered by the swift turn of events. The officers, now acting under the direct supervision of Chief Williams, comply with her orders. They approach Karen, their demeanor professional yet firm, a stark contrast to their earlier hesitancy. Notebooks in hand, they begin taking Karen's statement, treating her not as the instigator of a neighborhood watch, but as a suspect in a case of wrongful accusation and harassment. As the officers jot down Karen's reluctant confessions, Jaden stands beside his mother, a quiet observer of the vindication unfolding before him. The experience, while harrowing, reinforces the unwavering support and protection his family provides. Chief Williams's presence not only secures his safety, but also sends a powerful message to the community about justice and the true cost of baseless suspicions. The ultimate karma moment reverberates beyond the confines of Willow Creek as news of the incident begins to spread, igniting discussions on social media and among community groups. The story of a young man wrongfully targeted and the subsequent fallout faced by his accuser becomes a poignant example of what can happen when prejudice is met with power and principle. Chief Williams's final actions that evening lay the groundwork for deeper reflections within the community about racial biases, the responsibilities of law enforcement, and the importance of accountability, regardless of one's social standing. As the evening draws to a close, the neighborhood is left to contemplate the transformed landscape of their community. For Karen, the consequences of her actions begin to materialize, serving as a stern reminder of the repercussions of unchecked bias. For Jaden and his mother, the ordeal ends not just with relief, but with a strengthened resolve to continue advocating for justice and equality. In the quiet aftermath of the confrontation that has rippled through the Willow Creek neighborhood, the fallout for Karen Mitchell is swift and devastating. Within hours of the incident, a bystander's video capturing her baseless accusations against Jaden Williams and her subsequent confrontation with Chief Williams goes viral. Shared across multiple social media platforms, the video sparks widespread outrage, turning Karen into a symbol of racial profiling and baseless accusations. As the video spreads, the repercussions for Karen extend beyond public shaming. Her employer, having seen the viral footage and faced with mounting public pressure, makes the decision to terminate her employment. The statement released by the company emphasizes their commitment to diversity and inclusion, making it clear that Karen's actions are wholly incompatible with their values. This professional setback marks a significant blow to Karen, stripping her of her financial security and professional identity. Back in Willow Creek, the neighbors who once greeted Karen warmly now turn their backs on her. The community, shocked and disappointed by her actions, distances themselves, making it clear that her behavior does not reflect the inclusive spirit they uphold. The cold shoulders and averted gazes that Karen encounters during her daily routines underscore a palpable shift in her social standing. The neighborhood, once a haven, becomes a landscape of isolation and judgment. Meanwhile, Jaden Williams experiences a contrasting shift in his own narrative within the community. As the truth of the situation unfolds and his innocence and integrity are made clear, the support for him grows. Neighbors who had watched the ordeal unfold now approach him with apologies for any doubt they might have harbored, and with praises for his composure and dignity under pressure. In a moment of quiet reflection, Jaden shares a smile with his mother, Chief Williams, outside their home. "Told you I could handle it," he says, a hint of pride in his voice for standing up for himself and enduring the ordeal with poise. It's a statement not just of self-assurance, but also of his coming of age in a world that often judged him at face value. Chief Williams, standing beside him with a protective arm around his shoulders, laughs warmly. "And I told you, I always have your back," she replies. Her words are more than a reassurance. They are a promise, a declaration of her unwavering support, and a testament to the bond they share. This exchange, light yet profound, encapsulates a pivotal moment of victory not just for Jaden, but also for his mother, who had turned a potentially destructive situation into a teachable moment for all involved. The community's reaction continues to evolve as discussions about racial biases, profiling, and community policing take on new depth and urgency. Local forums and neighborhood meetings, once routine and uneventful, now buzz with dialogues about ensuring fairness and building bridges of understanding. For Karen, the road ahead is uncertain. The destruction of her reputation and the loss of her job force her to confront the deep-seated biases that led to her downfall. This period of enforced reflection is uncomfortable but necessary if she is to rebuild her life with a new understanding of the diversity that surrounds her. As for Jaden, the ordeal strengthens his resolve to advocate for justice and to support initiatives that foster understanding and equality. His experience, while challenging, fortifies his role as an emerging voice in the community, advocating for those who, like him, might face discrimination but lack the support to defend themselves. The aftermath of that fateful evening in Willow Creek leaves a lasting imprint on all involved, serving as a catalyst for change and a reminder of the power of solidarity and the importance of standing up against injustice. As the dust settles on the tumultuous events in Willow Creek, the community begins to heal and reflect on the deeper implications of what occurred. In the midst of this introspection, Chief Williams finds herself at the center of a gathering of journalists, eager to capture her thoughts on the confrontation that has not only gone viral, but has sparked a nationwide conversation about race, policing, and community accountability. A reporter steps forward, her question pointed and reflective of the public's thirst for a narrative of retribution. How does it feel to teach her a lesson? The inquiry hangs in the air, echoing the sentiments of many who seek justice in the form of personal victories. Chief Williams, however, shakes her head, her expression serious and contemplative. "This is not about teaching lessons," she begins, her voice steady and commanding attention. "This is about changing the system." Her response redirects the narrative from one of individual comeuppance to systemic reform, emphasizing that the real victory lies not in the downfall of one person, but in the potential for broader societal change. Her words resonate with those gathered, prompting nods of understanding and a shift in the tone of the conversation. It becomes clear that Chief Williams views the incident not as an isolated event, but as a symptom of larger, more pervasive issues that require thoughtful and sustained action. As the questions continue, Chief Williams elaborates on her vision for the future, a future where law enforcement and community relations are built on foundations of trust, respect, and mutual understanding. She talks about initiatives already underway, including community outreach programs, diversity training for officers, and forums for open dialogue between the police and the community they serve. The discussion culminates in a powerful closing statement from Chief Williams, one that encapsulates her commitment to transformation and her role as a leader within both the police force and the community. "You can call the cops on us," she states, a slight smile playing on her lips as she delivers the mic drop line. "But now, we are the cops." This statement serves as a poignant reminder of her dual identity as both a protector of public safety and a Black woman, navigating and reshaping the very systems that have historically been fraught with tension and mistrust. Her declaration spreads quickly, amplified by social media and news outlets, becoming a rallying cry for those advocating for change across the country. It underscores the evolving role of law enforcement as part of the community, not apart from it, and highlights the critical need for representation at all levels of the system. In Willow Creek, the impact of Chief Williams's leadership and the events that unfolded continue to influence the community's path forward. Conversations about race and justice, once held in hushed tones or behind closed doors, are now at the forefront of community meetings. Jaden, inspired by his mother's courage and the community's response, becomes more involved in youth advocacy, determined to use his voice to effect change. Karen, for her part, embarks on a difficult journey of self-reflection and education. Her path is not easy, but it is necessary, as she confronts the biases that led to her actions. Her story serves as a cautionary tale, a lesson in the consequences of unchecked prejudice and the possibility of redemption through genuine understanding and change. The final lesson of Willow Creek is clear. Change is not just possible. It is essential. And it begins with the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to listen, to learn, and to lead with a commitment to justice that is unwavering and inclusive.